Hello and welcome to another video. I've been running experiments on league accounts for years, and yet why is it that when my match history looks like this, my LP gains start to look like this? The answer might be more surprising than you think, so I've come up with a few main reasons why this is. Let's break this down into 3 parts, starting with Quicksand elos, proceeding to expected wins and losses, and finally wrapping up with an interesting phenomenon where higher elo players play same games but get different LP gains. If we start with the Quicksand elo concept, it's known that there are a lot more players in some ranks than others. Think the last division of each rank, for example. This results in there being a large skill gap between the MMRs of the players in these elos, especially since the motions are hard. Same thing also happens in lower elos, but instead of when you are climbing, you getting lower LP gains, you end up getting more LP when you go into bronze or iron because it's harder to get your MMR as low as the people who have, say, 500 games and 40 win rate or something. This makes LP gains kind of inconsistent between some ranks. For example, when you gain 5 more LP in Diamond 4 than Plat 1 or something, which is a pretty interesting concept to think about. Next up, we can talk about expected wins and losses. Now, I would think that this means you just need to win a lot and win when you are expected to lose, right? You would think that you're really smart if you think that, but sadly, you would be wrong. The reason being that your MMR will refuse to move as much as your LP because these online games have something they usually consider a prediction of elo, accuracy predictor, whatever else. I'm not really sure what they call it. Some games call it different things also, but in the end, it's a system that predicts your elo and it has a certain accuracy rating or whatever. Let's say it's how sure the system is of your elo with the amount of games you played. Because of these systems, it will refuse to push you far up quickly without resistance, so people don't get a lucky win streak and skyrocket or whatever else might happen. But the funny thing here is that the ways to get around this barrier are to 1. Break it down by brute force, aka win a lot of games, 2. Consistently win more than you lose, which is basically the same thing as number 1, except that your win rate would be lower and it would take longer. The third option would be to use dodges a lot, but here you would have to win a lot anyway, though dodges do kind of help you because with dodges, your odds of winning are a lot higher because you're dodging unfavorable games, so if you play less, then this could be a decent option for you to get better LP in the games that you do play. Though sadly, it's a bit of a boring option. This, in the long term, will help you, so it should be used anyway, though how much it should be used depends on the person. In the end, we also have a fourth option, though, which is one that you probably would not expect. This is the so-called plot twist option, right? You would think that you want to win to make your MMR better, but in reality, you want to lose. Because when you start losing after attaining a new high rank, say you attain a new peak, and you start losing, and then you win again, and you lose again, and you win again. This is now the new rank you're maintaining. And because you're maintaining somewhere along this rank, it can be, say, like you go 100 LP up, 100 LP down. It can be you're just winning and losing game after game. Either way, the system becomes more and more sure that you belong in this rank. And when the system is sure, it just puts you there. And now this is the new rank that you need to climb out of, and it's basically the same as your last main rank, where you gain like okay LP gains. So now you can repeat the same process again, and eventually you can climb, where you can win, say, 10 games. You lose like 5, you win like 5, you lose 5, win 5. Now the system thinks you're here, and now you win 10 games again, for example, and so on and so forth. This doesn't require you to have as high of a win rate as the other options, so this option is quite a bit easier than the other ones, and it's also a surprising one when it comes to LP gains. This is also why when people climb normally, their LP gains don't suddenly become like plus 10, minus 20 or something when they've climbed to a much higher rank than they were before, but rather stay pretty comparable to what they were at the start. The last thing I want to talk about is the fun fact of the video, where higher elo players will play the same games for different gains. The main things that happen here is either the system skewing the game to be unfair for the higher MMR players, so he has to play with lower elo players against higher elo players, or it's just giving less LP to people in general. It's a pretty weird phenomenon, but it's kind of unavoidable because of the scarcity of players and super high MMRs. So that's why that one happens. You could also talk about SmurfQ before, but they kind of removed that. So in reality, this is the main stuff you want to talk about when you talk about League of Legends MMR. And I hope you learned something new if you weren't sure how MMR works. And if you were sure, you can let me know of that in the comment section. And you can tell me what you would like to see that you aren't sure about yet. Leave a like and subscribe, and see you next time.